What's popular YouTube? Another day, another demo. Today we are going to hey, before you get on my back. Okay, I was a little bit sick, got the sniffles. Okay, I'm here. It hasn't been that long. I didn't record any demo reviews while I was at the major because our schedule was actually pretty chaotic. We didn't know what we were doing one day ahead for every single cast. So not only was I out there in the resort hotel enjoying the beach, but working very hard on the casting and just soaking up the vibes of my second major as talent. So it was pretty special for me. And it was shaping up to have some of the greatest CSGO matches to ever be witnessed in real life. Furia versus anybody. 9Z versus anybody. 00 Nation versus anybody. Imperial versus anybody. That's all you needed, okay? Whether it was the Challenger stage, the Legend stage, or the playoffs, Furia. Just want to say, they didn't finish, they didn't win the major, but to even make top 8 and then to take out Na'Vi in quarters, one of the most memorable experiences as a CSGO fan, viewer. Of course, you guys know Furia is my favorite team. So even though they didn't win, this was such a great experience and really hats off to them. But today we are here to celebrate somebody else. Well, not another team, but not another player. JAME. What was I trying to say there? We're here to celebrate JAME. Okay, and also like this, before we start, give a shout out to James' YouTube channel, JAME Time. Check it out on YouTube, okay? JAME has been pushing his YouTube channel, and as a YouTuber, I very much respect that. I respect the grind. Go support him, subscribe, watch his videos. He got English subtitles, and yeah, he's trying to make more content. Dude, Outsiders, it's the perfect name for this team because most outside chance of winning the major, right? Not completely unbelievable, but relatively unbelievable. And I think like Heroic was more believable, but then Outsiders beating them was also kind of believable. But Outsiders versus Cloud9 versus Na'Vi versus FaZe, that was less believable. I think Na'Vi FaZe especially. And some people are looking at their bracket run and saying, well, they didn't have to play against Na'Vi or FaZe. And that's true. But you play who's in front of you. And Heroic were the ones maybe feel like they dropped the ball in this grand final. But you look at this run from from Outsiders, and they played extremely well across all of their players. For the most part, throughout the entire run. And for JAME to get the major MVP is incredible. He put it this way on his vlog channel. The cool part about this final in terms of storyline, 2 sniper IGLs, 1 very emotive, and 1 very emotionless. You know, referring to himself. And even me, when I was watching the major, I didn't actually put that together. That, you know, Cadian and JAME are so similar and so different, right? And I think this is really cool that JAME gets a lot of credit here because he's the most famous player on the team. He's also been widely regarded, at least by me, as one of the players who has some of the most awareness in CS. Genuinely. Cool part actually is I casted them winning DreamHack Rio. JAME undefeated in Brazil. Actually, I don't know if he was in Sao Paulo or not. Undefeated in Rio de Janeiro. They built a statue for him before he even got there, actually. They knew that it was destiny that JAME would pick up another trophy. So there's something about this place for JAME. I don't know if it's the bananas because they taste like ice cream. If it's the hot weather that just the humidity makes his hair nice and curly. Or if it's the beaches, just getting his toes up in that white sand. I don't know. But something... Oh, hold on. Let's talk about the setup. This is one of the coolest setups I saw being used a lot this major. Okay. Look at the amount of resources here dedicated to the A site. You need 4. This part kind of sucks, right? You have 4. We got Kickered on the B site playing Woodwall. Or will be in a second. And the great part about this setup is it's option in terms of option coverage. You get a good angle on every single fight because of the way they're set up right now, creating all these off angles. Except if there's a B rush, then you're kind of screwed. You have to retake, or I think Kickert's down there with an MP9. But outside of that one round, a B rush, you have a really good way to get the first kill. We're going to probably see people walking into his crosshairs here. So Flit's got, you know, info from JAME. JAME has info from Fame. And then Fame has info from Stairs. Okay? And all of these players can stand in positions that you can't stand in unless somebody is watching the next thing. So even though it's really resource heavy and intensive, it catches everybody off guard when they first try to approach A. So look at this off angle. Like, look how off this angle is, man. It's just beautiful. JAME gets 2 off that. I casted this game. I don't remember exactly what happened because it was kind of early on. But this is a 15-0 half from Outsiders. And the reason I wanted to watch this game is because, first of all, it's JAME's most dominant game as a caller, not just as a fragger. The reason that this was 15-0 was because JAME called the perfect rotations every single round. So we're going to be looking at the minimap a lot in this half. And I swore up and down that I was going to stop watching CT side Overpass demos. And then JAME, throughout this entire major, was the king of Overpass. He's the best player on Overpass this whole major, individually, on top of being the MVP of the whole damn thing. So we want to take a closer look at why. And, you know, when the game was done, it was like, damn, JAME had a really good half. As the game was going on, I was thinking, this is a pretty good half. Wow, he's actually not dying. Wow, just more like it's just looking invincible out here, no matter where he goes. And then they end the half 15-0. They lose the pistol. Could have been a 16-0 on top of winning the major in this run, if it couldn't have been even more special. But we're going to see a lot of this, a lot of con control. I mean, not necessarily from JAME, but this is a huge focus of 2022 Overpass. And this position right here from JAME as well, calling out when there isn't enough pressure in the default towards the A site. And that's where JAME's going to call the rotations consistently. And it really was JAME on the op a ton. So this position along has become very interesting in terms of the metagame. Not that interesting, but something that's interesting about it is sometimes people are eating the flashes, I should say, and then just waiting. You'll see Shiro actually dodge some of the flashes with the wall, or stay blind behind the washroom sign and then pop up. And yeah, of course we're going to watch a Shiro demo at some point in the next week or so. We're going to watch a Shiro demo, watch a K-Serrata demo. We got to watch a Fame demo. I'm enamored with Fame. One of the youngest players to ever win a major. He's 1-for-1 on majors. 19 years old, and the guy that they hired to, they won't say they hired him to replace Yakinder, but he does fill out some of the same playstyle attributes that Yakinder had, and did an amazing job with it. I think, funnily enough, of course, the whole meme is that JAME Time and Outsiders play really slow. I personally think that the team looked a bit faster with Fame on it, even though he wasn't as forward as Yakinder was in a lot of spots. For whatever reason. I mean, that's just my perception. Okay, make sure to keep this smoked, right? So you have easy angles here from the pit. And even though JAME misses here, he stays alive, and they can't scale on him from the left side. So that smoke that JAME just threw, of course, we've talked about it before, but really key for defending the bomb site on CT side. It's funny how, at one point, you know, T's used to try to use it to scale and block off vision from heaven. And now the shoe is on the other side of the table, which is turned, and the CTs use it to defend the site. Of course, I'm just talking about really old metas that don't make sense anymore, that no one remembers anyway. So, okay. Sometimes you'll see T's try to jump through, subvert the smoke, go up into headshot, and then attack the site that way. If they get the kill, it's over. That's a good way to approach. Okay, JAME. Up top, he knows he has a chance right here to maybe stop the cross into the site. It would be an amazing opportunity. They also double nade perfectly. It's just late, and Fasher gives them the peek. it's totally reasonable that the T's try to fight here because with pistols and with how careful outsiders are, and most teams at this level in general, they're going to slow you down and stop you. So, oh, JAME waiting for the peek, waiting for the... okay, okay, right here. If he's... the guy's monster and JAME's not peeking, he's going to drag him out the maximum distance. When Nikedos swings, he's going to think, well, I have no choice. I have to start fighting the default planner, default diffuser, and the guy who's defending is probably short. If JAME stays out and Nikedos comes out a little bit, then JAME has to hit his shot or Nikedos runs and they win, right? Or Nikedos swings and kills him, kills the diffuser. So in this position, JAME hiding makes more sense. Now, he also has enough time on the bomb to sacrifice his teammate who's defusing if he wants to get this kill. Okay. Now that was for Monster, safe from short, so they were fine. Nikedos made the big rotation around. I remember that round right now. But that's why JAME was hiding in that position, so very tricky. Opting for the jump up, and he sees a shallow flash as well, but look at this. He actually doesn't move from the shallow flash. And this is that big brain of JAME that we know Norbert's talked about. He said, I don't understand what JAME's talking about, but I know that now, since we started winning so much, that this guy has a big brain. And he said, sometimes I still don't understand the strats, but look at him now, Norbert, major winner. Even though he doesn't understand the strats, apparently, he trusts them. And that just goes to show you, you don't have to be smart, you just have to believe. That's a Norbert quote, 2022. But callouts like eating that flash and things like that, a lot of this stuff is prep, right? You're looking for whatever edge you can get as an op. You don't want to be caught falling back, rotating every single time a noise gets made. Because then you're a bad player. And then you'll end up here in CT spawn at the beginning of the round every round. 40 seconds, it's okay to be here. This frontside smoke that he just threw on Overpass, very important smoke for the CT side these days. Everyone's throwing this now. It widens the angle from Optimus so that you can see farther away, because T's, when they jump up, they try to turn the corner really hard and pre-fire you in the truck. Now you can fight long a little bit easier without thinking that someone's going to close peek you, and you have this smoke. So very important late round smoke that JAME just threw. You can see it right in front of your screen. Opens up an angle for Norbert, makes things easier. 5v4, no reason to move, you know, for JAME really, because he's got teammates everywhere. Oh, bad shot. Oh, wait, I remember this. 1 second. This actually gets reset. Yeah, this is a tech pause. They had to restart this one. Oh, that was unfortunate because Mezzi hit a double entry and yeah, all the Fnatic players dropped and then outsiders retook. So then they reset it because of a exception to the rule. It was, sorry, a rule. It was a rule subset. It wasn't some random instance. When I was casting, I actually said that outsiders allowed them to restart because damage had already been taken. The truth was that there was actually a rule that covered this. When there was 3 or more PCs that all dropped simultaneously, even if damage was dealt, then they would reset the round. So that was covered, which is really good because it's always painful to see a team, you know, lose somebody in an important round and then no reset happens. But it's good to see that, okay, majority drop. Well, we've got to make an exception. I think things like these are really important. So gotta love CS for that. Look how wide JAME's holding here. This is crazy to me. Wait. Why is he holding this wide, actually? I know, I mean, on GoTV sometimes they're not actually holding as wide as they look. But this means he's holding for like he's not holding for the far peak. It's too far. So he's actually holding for someone to walk up the inside of bathrooms and peek. I don't know, but he's not holding for the head. I don't know what this looks like, actually. I've never been this perplexed watching someone hold an angle, I won't lie to you. It looks like he's checking once in a while to see if someone could be underneath. But he's really holding for some type of walk up on the inside of bathrooms. Doesn't see it. Okay, flash goes over. We're playing tucked. I would love to see how that played out. Because it's not common for people to scale through the inside of bathrooms and just hit the site that way. But I guess if they come on the outside of bathrooms, then there wouldn't be a shot available to him that easily. Nicodemus walks into it. Oh, it's so easy for... Oh, that third shot is crazy, Jame. That third shot, they're going to talk about that one for a while. That was a big money moment by Jame. Wow. Okay, that was just mechanical prowess. And that's why we know Jame, not only really aware opper, like seriously, insanely aware player, but also he hits a lot of extremely hard shots consistently. Really does. He always looks a little like the way he plays. It's just a unique. I'm not even gonna knock it. It's not something wrong with like his crosshair placement and stuff like that. He's pretty methodical actually with the way he clears angles. Like this one, he'll aim for the jump up properly every time he swings on long. Like he's not lazy about anything. It just looks unique, I guess, the way that he clears a lot of positions. So. But he is a he's very hard to catch off guard. I think that's the big thing about Jame that makes him stand out for me. He's very hard to catch off guard. So here the assist flash to help Fame look inside the bathrooms. Once again, I think one thing about this game for sure, I'll say it right now, Fnatic did not do a good job of denying Jame vision or convincing him that he didn't need to be over on A. Like, see this frontside smoke again? And it's actually to draw attention away from Fame as well, while he's playing up close. And since Jame doesn't see anything off this fake, well, now everybody rotates over to B Jame, and then Fame is still frontside bathrooms, and they're... Wow, what a shot. And they're in the site, so now it's all over. Too easy. But you see, they threw... Sometimes if you throw a fake, but the fake doesn't work... then it's worse than if you threw nothing. Because then there's still the idea that you could full exec. But let's say you throw like a molly in sight, but there's no one in a position where Fame can see them from outside of bathrooms. Then all you did was shoot yourself in the foot by throwing a really crummy fake, and you should have just exec'd, or you should have just left quietly. Watch him hold the jump up here. The thing... Yeah, there it is. Sometimes you boost an opper behind this wall. So Jame looking to periodically check, but he seems more convinced that this isn't going to happen. And is holding low. And look how much time they're bleeding off the clock. A little bit too easy here for outsiders for sure. And there's a very important angle over the flower beds here where you can see over top of the stairs as well. And there will be timings where if your opper isn't pushed back on the A site, they can use this angle to catch you going downstairs. So if that comes through, I'll point it out. But and so he sends off Fame like a mercenary to... How did they know that it was going to be A here? This is crazy. This is crazy. What was even the clue? They must have... I don't know if they had an audible or what, but they're so ready for the site at the moment. Maybe over on B they looked and didn't see anything. They were totally in Fnatic's head. And now it's just easy shots here for Jame. They're like, why are there so many CTs here on A? How can we be this obvious? Mezzi is our IGL. He's the second best IGL in the UK. Let's see if he... Oh, he doesn't even need to. They just swing on him. And he started flowers. Now he's just in the zone. Because here he starts flowers just on the thought, hey, maybe they're going to try long this time. They haven't tried it for 9 rounds. I haven't been there in a minute. Now's the time. And then boom, he's right. Roj swings out with a rifle. Jame awaits him. So he has another smoke, which again... Well, we'll see how he uses it here. It keeps flashing outside bathroom, so Fame can update info, and he actually doesn't. But sometimes you don't always want to throw... flashes like that to update info. So here, see, he kind of... It shrinks the choke point on the front of the site in front of Dice. So I was wondering if Jame was going to throw the same smoke with Fame on this side. This could lure you into thinking that they're playing truck now too, right? So we'll see how they scale on Fame, who didn't peek last time. He gets his first kill. They come up. They're clearly a little tricked. Oh, 10 seconds. You know they're going to plant center Dice and... Jame with an easy one. Teammates here to help. He's been able to jump around too freely and get information. Good to see JAME and B. A little variety is the spice of life. It's what my mom always says. Let's see how the sweatiest man in CSGO holds angles. He's worried, he's aware, he's thinking, he's processing, he's synthesizing, he's calculating. And now he's letting go. He's going for it. Bomb has not crossed sight. They were watching from bank and CT as well. James like, what the hell is going on, boys? And they went to push bank with bomb and died. And Nikados, what a shot. Wow. Also had a crazy couple of games, Nikados. I really want to watch one of his games. It was on Nuke. I can't remember exactly who he was playing against. I think it was 9Z, actually. But he had a game that was like, wow. There was a lot of good players, a lot of good teams this major, man. Very competitive. It's kind of nuts how, like, it's Outsiders heroic, but it does speak to how competitive the major was as a whole. It felt like Na'Vi were going to power up in playoffs for sure. But Furia played... I mean, Furia, there were moments, of course, anytime there's a home game or whatever, where the crowd has maybe some impact on what happens. I honestly, like, if you ask most players, and they're focusing on what the crowd might be trying to imply with noise, rather than focusing on playing the game and their own reads and their own preparation, then they're honestly probably not very good players. And I think that's just the fact. If you're not focusing on the game, yeah, you're not going to win off of the crowd. I'll tell you that. I'll tell you that much. So the fact that Furia beat Na'Vi, I mean, it was a massive win, and it's probably something that couldn't have happened outside of Rio. I think maybe just the positive energy that you get from playing in front of a home crowd makes a big difference there. There were some things like they were cheering really loudly over the tack pauses, so Blade couldn't talk. Stuff like that, but at the same time, well, I've got more thoughts about home crowds and land CS and stuff like that. It's just kind of, oh, I don't want to start talking about it now, but it's just the funniest thing to say that you expect a crowd to cheer for the other team. It's kind of like go outside, like go to a sporting event ever once in your life. What are you even talking about? Would I go to a Raptors game and cheer for LeBron because he owns us every time? It's just because he's here in Toronto? No one does that. What are you talking about? It just doesn't even happen. Go outside. So that argument's a little bit crazy. Anyway, we're not talking about that. LeBronto. Think I'm happy about that? Wow, you're so good, LeBron. Just want to cheer for you now that you've owned us so many times. Come on, James, hit a shot. He's really bad on these angles. New day, new peak. Oh, so they do the fast front bathroom smoke, but James peeked all the way in. They smoked it, of course, so they could have crossed out. But it looks like, since he doesn't seem to be running up with the fast front bathroom smoke, they have the perfect read once again, that this is just a fake. And it feels like there is some intersection here between James having good prep on some of his reads, where he eats flashes, when he reads smokes. And sometimes he's also in a flow. I mean, it's 13-0, so he's also in a flow where I feel like he's making all the right gamble reads when he starts flowers, when he pushes deep into mid this time. Maybe it was a money thing. Maybe it's the thing that he expects to happen once that hasn't happened yet. James talked about how exhausted he was after finishing the major. He said his nervous system was staggered. I think something like that. It was in it with English subtitles, but he just said like he could really feel it, the amount of work and effort that he put in to complete this fairy tale run. 13-0. That passive angle and bank is huge. Mezzi here, he tries to look for a frag. James just runs into it. I mean, everything is going well here for Outsiders. Not holding high here, holding sort of wide, which is interesting because I think, you know, the Nikita's crouch peek is one thing. Not worrying about any jiggles is another. Sometimes he's holding these angles and I wonder what's going to happen here. Right now, he's actually spotting divider, but this is almost with the assumption that they would have crossed already. Whereas sometimes you're holding the actual sliver because you don't think they've crossed already. Sorry, the assumption that they could have crossed, not that they definitely did. I think it's an important distinction. Okay. And there it is. He finally searches and finds his target. Doesn't want to go into the bathrooms just yet. And they don't have any control of longs. They're a little insecure, but look who just pops up. And interestingly, Flit... Wow. JAME just goes for an angle where he could have been exposed to long, but Norbert's watching here. And now they spot both. And JAME just puts him to sleep. He is doing such a good job. It's obviously a shame they lose the pistol because this was a dominant ass half. One of the most of the major. We just watched the winner's POV, JAME, with the MVP. What can you say about that, man? JAME, the guy who made it to the finals of Berlin, only to get trounced by Astralis because Astralis were just really that good. Had a slightly easier team this time, but he was the IGL and the op and the carry every game consistently. An unreal run in terms of just the numbers for JAME. And just hats off and congratulations to the whole team. I also really want to look at Flit and Fame because... Not just because they're on Outsiders who won the tournament, but those are two riflers that stood out to me over almost any other rifler besides like Quesarado at the whole event. Amazing games from both of them, so we're gonna definitely go and see. That's Outsiders MVP of that's Outsiders winner of IEM Rio 2020. This is why I don't do trophy lifts. The team that you would never expect to be able to do it, but you knew was always good enough to take down your favorite roster, right? The team that you didn't put into your Legends pick'em, but knew you would regret it at the same time, right? The team that you knew would squeeze in a top 8, but you didn't think would get any farther besides making a game close. Well, it looks like we've got new challengers arriving, so wow, love to watch that. And stay tuned for more demo reviews. I've got a few queued up, but if you have a favorite player at the major that you want me to watch, let me know who it is. Thanks for watching.